So it is 2010. I'm 26 years old, and I completely black out in a Marshall's dressing room. So I had heard that if you take a fentanyl pain patch and rip it open, you can eat the jelly contents that's inside of it and get really fucked up. So I thought that this was an awesome idea. So earlier that day, I went to my dealer's house, and I called this man my dealer, but he was actually this really cute little old man that I had met after posting an ad in the male-for-male casual encounters section of Craigslist looking for drugs, because that's where I was at that point in my life. So I go to his house and I buy this fentanyl pain patch, I put it on, and then I decide that it's time to go to Marshall's and go shopping, because why not? So I'm in the dressing room at Marshall's, and I figure this is the perfect time to test this theory. So I take off the pain patch, and I start trying to rip open the patch, and they do not make this very conducive to opening. So I'm teeth into it, I'm pulling it, and I'm prying it, and finally I take a safety pin that was on one of the hang tags, and I start picking at the foil packaging to try to get some kind of leeway. So I start now peeling back the foil, and the next thing I know, I am face first in this pain patch, licking it clean. And the last thing I remember is that taste of the chemical going down the back of my throat. And that's it. Blackout. I woke up 2 days later in my bed with absolutely no idea what had transpired in that time. So I start trying to piece together fragments of my life like a bad dream. And finally, I look at my phone and I see all of these missed text messages from an unknown number. So I look at the messages, and it's from a woman who tells me that she comes from a long line of gypsies. And she and I had met in the shoe department of Marshall's. And apparently we really bonded over a pair of red Nikes, which were now sitting in my closet. So she says that when we were together, she could sense a curse inside of me. And she could help me with this curse if I wanted. Now, I've always loved magic. I've been surrounded by the mystical my whole life, whether tarot card readers or psychics or mediums. So for this woman to tell me that she's a gypsy and I have a curse that she can help me with, I mean, this was like striking gold. And to be perfectly honest, at that point in my life, I felt cursed. Because I was in the midst of a 14-year drug addiction. I was unbelievably lonely, depressed, and I had just come out of a 3-year extremely toxic relationship where me and this guy, when we met, the thing that bonded us was the fact that we had both just been arrested for a DUI and were serving probation. So when I have a woman telling me that she's a gypsy and can cure me of my shit, well, I was at her house in a day. And so this house that this woman lived in, it was like a 2-story, huge waterfront home on Fort Lauderdale Beach. And for me, coming from, I was living in like a shitty 2-bedroom duplex with 3 roommates. This home, it was like the epitome of success. You know, it was everything that I wanted. So she was clearly doing something right. She could help me. So the door opens, and there's a blonde woman standing there. And she tells me that she is the sister of the gypsy who I had met. She too is a gypsy, and she sees the curse inside of me as well, and she'd be able to help. So she invites me to come in the house. I walk in, and she proceeds to sit me at like this round breakfast table in the dining room, and I sit, and she plops this like Bible thick, like all I can say it's like the equivalent of like a Gypsy Home Shopping Network catalog in front of me, and she says, okay, you need to pick one thing from this catalog, and this is the object that will help cure you of your curse. So I'm leafing through, and it's got all the stuff that you would expect to be in this catalog, like talismans and crystals and candles, all the stuff that I have in my house today, by the way. And I see this really beautiful, ornate, carved candle, and I say, that's it. This is the object. And she says, oh, that is the perfect object for you. It's $300. And I'm like, oh, wait, I was working a really crappy graphic design job for like a gay trash magazine making like minimum wage. So in no way could I possibly afford a $300 candle. And so I'm asking her, what's another option? And she says, you have one other way. We could perform a ritual. And the best part about this ritual is it's free. So I'm like, sign me up. You tell me what to do and I will do it. So she gives me this list of instructions and she says, 1, you need to go to the bank and empty all the money out of your bank account. 2, you have to go home, find a glass jar, and then wrap all your money around this jar. And then fill the jar with water, put an egg inside the jar, and then take your favorite article of clothing and sheath it around this jar with the money and put it under your bed for 1 week and then come back. So I'm out of there. I go straight to the bank. I take out all the money from my bank account, which was like $630 something. That's all the money I had to my name then. I go immediately home. I find a perfect mason jar. I fill it with water. I wrap the money around the jar. I put the egg inside, and I take my favorite t-shirt. And this was truly my favorite t-shirt because I got it when I was thrift store shopping in high school, and it said the spike across from it, and I could never understand why old creepy men would ask me what a cute thing like me was doing wearing a shirt like that until I found out that the spike was this like gay S&M club in New York in the 80s. So it was like my favorite shirt. So I wrap it, I sheath it around the jar, and I place it under my bed for 1 week. And then a week goes by, and I take the jar to the house, and I knock on the door. And this time the door slowly opens, and there is a different woman standing there. And it's this older, very stoic, kind of stern-looking woman with dyed dark hair. And she says, hello. She has this like gypsy accent like this. Hello, I am the mother. I am the high gypsy priestess, and only I can cure you of your curse. Come in. And I'm like, okay, I've got the high gypsy priestess. I'm set. So I go in, and she walks me through the kitchen and the dining room and into the laundry room, which I say laundry room, but it's like the size of my bedroom at that time. It was huge. And there's 2 stools. She sits on one stool and I sit on the other, and she hands me a blindfold, and she takes the jar from me, and she begins to explain, you have a very dark curse in you. There's a demon inside of you that has been following you from lifetime to lifetime, and it will continue to follow you into the next lifetime unless we cure you of this curse today. And I'm like, oh my God, whatever you tell me to do, I will do. Just get rid of the demon. So she tells me to put on the blindfold, and I put on the blindfold. And suddenly it gets really quiet. And then I hear her start talking in these languages that I had never heard before, like, and then she starts like patting my legs a little bit, like patting me down. And then she begins to go a little bit like crazier with it, like, and the patting gets like a little bit stronger, and she starts like hitting my chest and beating me, and then she's like, and I am like, by this point, vibrating. My body feels alive, and I am hot, and I am sweating, and I don't know if I'm excited or scared. And then she starts like hitting my face, and it gets absolutely insane. And the next thing I know, then she's spitting at me. She's like, duh, duh, duh. And I'm like covered in gypsy spit. And it's this amazing, crazy crescendo, and then it gets quiet. And she tells me to take off the blindfold, so I take off the blindfold. And she's holding up the jar. And in the jar is like this yellowish, red, bloody color with like a fleshy, fatty thing floating inside of it that kind of looked like chicken breast with like a bone and like a wad of hair, like something you would pull out of your shower drain. And I'm like, what is that? And she says, it is the demon. I pulled it from out of you and I trapped him in the jar. And the only way to keep the demon in the jar is to keep the money and the jar here with me for 1 week. And then you come back and I give it to you. And I'm like, wait a minute, whoa. Suddenly something feels a little off. Like all of a sudden it feels a little strange to me. And I'm like, you want me to leave all of my money with you? She says, yes. And I'm looking at the demon and I'm like, I don't know, it doesn't really look like a demon to me, and kind of looks like chicken breast, and I could swear that I saw a pack of open supermarket chicken breast sitting on the washing machine, and this really pisses her off, and she goes, get out! And I'm like, wait. Okay, because at this point, this was everything to me. This was my chance to change my life. So I agreed to leave her the jar with my money, my favorite t-shirt, and I leave with the intention to come back in 1 week. And a week goes by, and I show up very eager to her house, and I knock on the door, and there's no answer. So I knock on the door again, and there's no answer. So I peek through the window, and that house has been vacated. It was empty. There was no one there. There was not even a stitch of furniture. They had either moved or the gypsy gods had come and plucked them off the face of the earth. But I felt like the biggest asshole. More than that, any chance, any hope that I had that my life was going to change was gone. My heart dropped. I had nothing. I was broke. And I went home. So 8 years go by, and I am telling the story to a friend, and we're laughing about it because it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous that I agreed to do any of that. It's ridiculous that I literally gave these people my money, right? And Then all of a sudden, like, this light bulb goes off in my head. And I say to my friend, you know, it's really weird. I ended up applying for a job, like 3 months after my exorcism. And I got that job, and it's still, 8 years later, my career today. I'm still with that job. And then these little flashes go off in my head, like constellations that begin to connect. And I say to my friend, God, it's really funny. The guy who interviewed me for that job turned out to be my future husband, who we've been together for 8 years. We've been married for 3. We have 2 adorable twin cats. We have 2 adorable, beautiful twin babies. And then exactly 1 year after my exorcism, I went to rehab and got sober, and I've been sober ever since. So yeah, but now I cannot help but wonder if that crazy gypsy mama actually pulled like a chicken breast demon from out of me. Thank you.